Now let's talk about the Transformers agenda, aka they're putting chemicals in the energon and trying to turn our bots gay.
Looks like I was made for this.
You look lonely.
Absorb it. Let it wash over you.
Any of you incels doing on 4chan, Snyder cut motherfuckers want to get on a line now? Anybody? Anything so?
You look lonely.
Nice fucking model!
I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
What? I see this as an absolute win.
Drink it in. Absorb it. Let it wash over you.
You will receive the truth about comic books. No censored, lying bullshit. And no going with what every other shill is saying about comics. This ain't satire or a joke. I don't know why people keep saying that. Why do people keep saying that about me? I don't get it. You will also receive real metal of the highest caliber. No posers, no glorifying genres that suck. Death, thrash, new metal. No BS. Just pure heavy metal with no regard for what posers think. If you agree with any of the stuff I say, please subscribe to help the metal fight. If you disagree, go complain to your boyfriend. Rock hard, ride free.
I'm gonna rise up, gonna kick a little ass, gonna kick some ass in the USA. Gonna climb a mountain, gonna soar a flag, gonna fly on an eagle. I'm gonna kick some butt, I'm gonna drive a big truck, I'm gonna rule this world, I'm gonna kick some ass, I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna kick a little ass. Okay, I'm gonna rise up, gonna kick a little ass, gonna kick some ass in the USA. Gonna climb a mountain, gonna soar a flag, gonna fly on an eagle. I'm gonna kick some butt, I'm gonna drive a big truck, I'm gonna rule this world, I'm gonna kick some ass, I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna kick a little ass. Rock, flag, and eagle. Rock, flag, and eagle. Rock, flag, and eagle. Rock, flag, and eagle. Kick a little ass and kick some ass in the USA. Gonna rise up, gonna kick a little ass and kick some ass in the USA. Gonna rise up, gonna kick a little ass and kick some ass in the USA. Gonna rise up, kick a little ass. Rock, flag, and eagle. Rock, flag, and eagle. Rock, flag, and eagle. Rock, flag, and eagle. Oh my God, I don't care!
rock hard. Just like I was with my mate when my daddy came in. I swear, Dadgy, I'm not a flamer.
Somebody, please! They got the children!
The only way that you can really stop this kind of thing is to arouse public opinion. It's very upsetting. It has a bad moral effect.
Forced adversity.
Ask yourself, what's more terrifying, fear or the frightened?
The facts of history and the aggressive impulses of an evil empire.
Bad, B-A-D-D, bothered about Dungeons and Dragons.
Up yours, woke moralists.
Socialism has spread the shadow of human regimentation over most of the nations of the earth.
And they're pushing identity politics with this. They 100% are.
How do you think homosexuals reveal themselves?
And the shadow is encroaching upon our own liberty.
I think there ought to be a law against them. Tonight I'm going to show you why.
Welcome to the FAP. Nancy used to do that for me. Handsy Nancy, I called her.
We do got to bring back FAP news. Yeah. Scared me there. Hey guys, welcome. What up, folks? As Zachary says, what is up indeed? Well, let's check. Egg prices are up. Let's see what's going on with Bob. What's up, Bob?
My temper is up.
Yeah, I mean mine too. Let's find out why. I think I got a good explanation for both of our tempers being a bit hot today, and we're waiting on Morgan, who is allowed to take as much sweet time as she pleases. That is, benefit of being the co-founder of the podcast. Bob, no such fucking leeway for you. You understand?
I'll never be late again, Daddy. I'm sorry, Dodgy. I'm sorry, Dodgy. I'll never be late again.
But I do like to offer little rewards where I can. So we're gonna watch your video here, even though it's one that I wish, and I'm sure you did too, that you didn't have to make.
Me too. Yep.
But here it is.
Okay, BookTube. Class is in session. Come closer. Come a little bit closer. Oh, God, not that close. Don't you understand boundaries?
No.
Well,
I don't, because I'm apparently someone commenting under my fucking Naomi King video. You motherfuckers are rape apologists. Let's go.
I guess some of you don't, and that's what this is really all about. I've changed my camera angle so I can look directly in your eyes. We need to talk about consent, BookTube, and the rest of YouTube generally, because it has become abundantly and distressingly clear to me that a lot of you out there in the BookTube community and in YouTube generally don't really understand how this works. Now, I'm referring, of course, to the ongoing controversy between BookTuber Daniel Green and his accuser, Naomi King. A lot of you rushed to Naomi King's defense when their first video came out, detailing some pretty horrific allegations against Daniel Green. And then Naomi put out a second video to provide context and clear up the timeline. And I now see a lot of you backing off as if something changed. But nothing changed. Nothing in the second video changed anything about the claims in the first video. In fact, they bolstered those claims. And it's really, really upsetting to me that so many of you are either so cowardly or so misinformed that you failed to see this. So let's keep our eye on the ball here. This is how consent works. Consent is a conversation that never, ever ends. It has to be going on every single second of every intimate encounter you ever have. There is no point in any intimate encounter where consent does not need to be obtained. Consent to do one thing is not consent to do another thing. It's not even consent to do the same thing again. Consent is not something that is given once and never needs to be spoken of. Consent is not a contract. Consent can be revoked at any time for any reason. No explanation is needed. If you are engaged in hanky-panky or other intimate encounters with someone who consented to them,
the infamous hanky-panky, or even like a blowy-wowy, blows-y-wozies, you have to also consent to that, you have to get consent for that. You don't, it's pretty simple. This guy's saying it really good, though. We're gonna listen to him.
30 seconds ago, or even 1 second ago, and they change their mind, you have to stop right that second, not in a few minutes, right that second. Now, you don't have to be happy about it, but you do have to do it. And if you don't, if consent has been revoked or not even clearly obtained, and you do it anyway, I don't care what the algorithm does to my channel. That is rape, and it isn't anything else. Now, here are some things that do not change that equation. And these are things that have been leveled at or revealed by Naomi King. A prior relationship with you, no matter how messy, does not change that equation. The person being a sex worker or an alleged sex worker does not change that equation. The person accepting money from you doesn't change that equation. The person sending you texts or emails asking you for a romantic relationship does not change that equation. The person engaging in infidelity with you doesn't change that equation. All of that is irrelevant. The person lying in bed next to you naked under the blanket doesn't change any of that. All of you complaining about context and Naomi seeming kind of sus or kind of off in their second video, are you children? Do you not understand how this works? The only thing that matters in this story is whether consent was obtained by Daniel Green in the moments where the two incidents being alleged occurred. If consent was not clearly obtained and Daniel Green did it anyway, that is sexual assault, and it isn't anything else. No amount.
So yeah, let's just pause for a second and talk about it, because it does seem like there are people that think that because Naomi did not explicitly state that they had been having an affair. They also didn't state that they hadn't. From memory, it was that at that point, Naomi no longer wanted to engage and wanted to behave as friends, which is why the situation came up in the first place. Now, just because Naomi did not provide every single detail of how the relationship began and everything that led up to that and everything that came after those moments in that first video does not, like Bob said, does not change a goddamn thing. And the people that look for any little excuse to go, oh, well, it wasn't rape then, because well, they were laying there next to naked next to him. That's not consent, man. And what the vibe that I get from the people that are so desperate to turn on a dime like this, because there's several people that at least claim that to have initially believed Naomi, that are now completely on the other side of it, is, and maybe those people are being disingenuous. I don't know. Maybe they, don't understand clearly the concept of consent, but like, I'm thinking it comes off to me when somebody's that desperate to defend against this and to say that Naomi's somehow the bad person. they're jumping to the harassment of his girlfriend stuff because Naomi had sent either a letter or a video trying to explain things and trying to get him to, trying to clear up the situation because Naomi felt bad about it. Look, somebody doesn't have to be a perfect human being in order to not be raped.
Yep.
That's just not a thing. Somebody can be have a messy relationship with somebody and like Bob said, it doesn't make it okay for somebody they could have had sex 30 minutes before consensually, and then Naomi changed their mind and he did what is alleged to have been done. And this lover spurned shit that I'm seeing is fucking ludicrous.
Yeah.
To think that I don't know. It's
yeah, like you can be engaged in a consensual sex ongoing that the person consented to, and then they can change their mind during the sex and say, I don't want this anymore, let's stop. And right that second, if you don't stop, you're raping them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
dismissed.
That's it. It really is not a difficult thing, and people trying to make it difficult and trying to split hairs on everything outside of the literal lack of consent for the acts alleged, the 2 acts. They could have and maybe even have had sex many other times that were consensual. But once again, that does not make it okay. And I mean, just don't go to r/fantasy and look at those fucking comments under that, because it's really upsetting. And I'm glad I'm not part of that community, or really any fucking community, because they always seem to be disappointing whenever something comes up. They're always, at least the shittiest people rise to the top in moments like this, it seems like. So yeah, it's fucking not good. I mean, I was looking through trying to find the best defenses of Daniel. I legitimately was. I was like, what is the best case somebody's making here? And I don't know if it's the best case, but it was the most organized one that I found in those replies. And somebody had laid out point by point why they think that, and at best, it was just attacking Naomi for having infidelity, and then go jumping from that to well, Naomi's by the way using incorrect pronouns the whole time, which maybe they don't know, but I learned and am using the right ones now. Nonetheless, jumping right from that because Naomi knowingly engaged in an affair with him while he's in a relationship, that basically makes Naomi as bad a person as somebody who may have, this person was even kind of halfway tacitly acknowledging that maybe he did do something, but still Naomi's a bad person too, and then also that one of the things, I can't believe they even said this and fucking didn't catch themselves, is just like, at least some of those accounts were consensual. It's like, okay, so what are you implying about the other ones, you fucking dumb shit, you fucking rape apologist? Jesus Christ, because that's all it is, man. It's fucking rape apology. I don't want to hear it. You're not fucking welcome in my community. You are an unsafe person. If you have never been essayed, or you've never learned about essay and consent, then that's fine, but it's not on anybody else's fucking community or my community or me to fucking put up with your lack of fucking understanding, your ignorance, your willful fucking ignorance of this topic, and you will fucking be banned. I don't care. I don't care what kind of reputation I fucking get for banning people, because I don't want to hear fucking rape apology. I don't care if people go around calling, oh, he's the guy that won't even hear our excuses for a rapist or whatever, whatever, I don't fucking care. I don't want to hear any of the, I hope nobody ever fucking accuses you. They're not going to. It's simply not going to happen, because I understand consent. And in fact, I don't even like the idea of doing it without ecstatic consent. You know what I mean?
I get into that later in my video.
Enthusiastic fucking consent. That's shit's hot, man. That's fucking, oh, this person wants me and they're making it fucking known. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I covered that in my video too. Like, if you are unsure whether you have achieved or acquired enthusiastic consent, then you have not.
Bro, I mean, I think I know which angle you're coming at from this, but I really wish you would fucking consider your comments before you drop them like this. Because it took me a second to realize that you were what perspective you were at.
Yeah, I got it right away. At least I
hope
I'm right about what Philip means.
I mean, yeah, if it was anybody else but somebody I'd seen here on a regular basis, then I would assume the other way. But you know, like, just for example, I mean, like, this is the kind of shit, this kind of stuff the kind of mentality that people think, oh, because someone consents at one point that they basically, or if they're laying there naked or whatever, they're in sharing a bed with someone, that's consent. No, man. Like, matter of fact, let me tell you this shit. You know, I guess this isn't the ideal way to announce this, but I've been with my girlfriend for a few years now, and you know, we've had sex a couple times. And, yeah, I know.
Out of wedlock? Out of wedlock? You horrible
Not
person.
for long. Not for long. As of today. Yeah. So, but I mean, it doesn't matter because, thank you. But the point is that it doesn't matter. Like, I'm going to make sure that, I mean, you know, she has never been shy about making sure I know what's up. In fact, I don't know that she's ever been the one to say no. I've been more like, I'm tired a few times. Anyway, yeah, I know I'm a fucking heathen, man. But I mean, we already got 3 kids here, man. Just like, they're all out of wedlock, you know. Fuck it, we're going to hell, bro. Anyway, yeah, you know, look, man, when you know how we like to say around here, our motto around here is rock hard, ride free. That doesn't mean lack of consent with sex. Okay. This doesn't include it in that. In fact, it goes against rock hard, ride free. Right. Because if you have consent, you are free to not worry about it, whether you're going to fucking get accused of some shit. You know what I mean? Because believe it or not, and I've seen people saying, oh, the number of women that fucking make false allegations. No, that's not even true. You can fucking look this shit up, man. It almost never happens. And if it does, it doesn't get far enough, you know, to fucking warrant, you know, it's just like the exceedingly, it's the same thing as like, you know, oh, Muslim terrorism or whatever. And it's like, hold on, man. You know, yeah, they happen now and then, but as we're going to talk about, here's a segue. Come on, Morgan, show up right now. As we're going to talk about the people that tend to be fucking terrorists in the U.S., white Christians.
Yeah.
This is such a fucking reductive statement that it doesn't even, why are you even commenting other than to sound like you have something cool to say, man? Like, that's not even fucking helpful in any way, shape, or form. This condition that we are in now is not the same condition we were in a couple of years ago. We've never been in the condition that we are in right now. So to just conflate the two is kind of fucking idiotic. You know, you got to do more than have a fucking, what is it? Chewy Guevara icon you got to fucking be a leftist. I'm sorry.
That's a cool avatar.
It is cool, but like, still, that's you know, you can't just like use the symbolism and then say fucking vague nonsense like it's always been fascist. None of this is new. A lot of this is very fucking new. Maybe engage with information sometimes. Anyway.
Yeah, we've always been a settler colonial state. And from the perspective of indigenous people, that may be a distinction without a difference. But fascism is totalitarian, but not all totalitarianism is fascism. These differences matter because knowing the differences between them informs our tactics and our strategies. And like saying we've always been fascist is just crying wolf.
I mean, look, I understand. I'm not going to argue with you that they've been oppressed and that there's been totalitarian, authoritarian, mandates and fucking laws and practices. Nobody's denying that. But what I'm saying is the word fascism means a specific thing. And that's true. However, the word fascism means a specific thing. I suggest you look it up. You can look it up from either, what's his name?
Umberto Eco. Start there.
Yeah, Umberto Eco, or there's there's a couple of different places you can study about it, man. Like, I mean, I learned history, you know, I didn't need to learn some alternative history to understand the context of how America has been shitty. They want to teach alternate history now, but like, you know, generally
read the book history. Read the book, An Indigenous People's History of the United States. That's a good start. But Dane's right. Fascism is a specific kind of authoritarianism. Just because a state is colonial or settler or even genocidal, that does not make it fascist. Fascism has a very distinct character and a very distinct definition, and we have to maintain those definitions accurately because, as I said, it informs our tactics and strategies of resistance.
Never mind the fact that it shuts down conversation about what's actually going on to just say, none of this is new. It's always been fascist. fucking light up a joint and fucking sit back. Like we need to actually have conversations about things we can do instead of just go, it's always been this way, you might as well give up, you know.
Oh boy, there's some trolls showing up in chat now. Boom.
Well, I mean, that's fine.
Be a spicy
one. It comes off as fucking desperate. I mean, I'm actually
at least
not.
We can spell.
I'm actually not
pathetic.
Because here's the thing, Caitlin. Yeah, you didn't even spell pathetic right. Jesus, pathetics. They are ticks. Here's the thing, Caitlin creates. I understand their grift probably better than they do, and if I had no fucking moral compass, then I could do what they do and probably be pretty successful at it. The fact that I choose not to means that I'm a better person, and I'm fine with that because, you know, I don't need to get money in some fucking illicit way of lying to people and feeding them full of bullshit, which I've proven over and over again on this channel. So I have a lot of my friends that's what they do. And you can't deny that shit. You're just fucking here coping. You're coping, man. You came across my channel, you saw some shit that triggered you. And what I really think is going on is probably something like this.
GI Robot is detecting unease. Could he be, GI Robot asks, in fear of being discovered as Nazi scum?
I don't think you're a troll. I don't think you're a troll. I just think that your first comment is a thought terminating statement.
Yeah, I was not referring to you as a troll either. I meant Caitlin creates. Apologies for the confusion there. And I don't think you were defeatist either. That's not what we were trying to say. We're trying to say that different enemies require different strategies and tactics, and fascism is different from settler colonialism. They're both horrible, and both must be defeated, but they cannot be defeated in the same way because they're not the same thing.
So, man, trolls have been out a lot on YouTube lately. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if they just feel that they're, you know, maybe they're, you know, they're not happy with being victors. Apparently, they still have to play victim. Because that's you know, literally something fascists do. But
kind of like the ones we're going to be talking about tonight. If
right,
Morgan would show up right now, that would be helpful.
Right now. But I guess not. It's okay. That's
if
okay.
Not, I guess. What should we continue with? I guess.
What should we what now?
Should we continue my video, or should we like move on to a subject without Morgan? She did say start without her.
Subscribe to your channel and watch your video. We got halfway through it. I don't want to take views from you.
That's fair.
So
I will point out the comments on my video are moderated. So, and I will only be approving comments that are supportive of Naomi King or other SA survivors and that do not misgender Naomi. Everyone else will be pruned from the sacred timeline. So if you see that video and you're mad at me, just cope harder. I don't give a shit.
I mean, my channel existed in 2019, so I was a little bit late, I suppose. Yeah, I mean, one of the few. The others are basically linked in the description. You know, one of the other people is right here. Why do these people never know how to spell simple words, man? Maybe you are new to this. You're a fucking dunce, dude.
He has a track record of being right about it all.
GI Robot is detecting unease. Could he be, GI Robot asks, in fear of being discovered as Nazi scum?
Anyway,
look, Nerdrotic and company, they know who we are. They refer to us indirectly. Not me, not me, but Dane and Organized Chaos.
With me and
for sure. They are terrified. Nerdrotic is terrified of debating or discussing any of this with Dane or Organized Chaos.
Like, honestly, the only reason that I really wish that I could just fucking blow up in subscribers is so that I could have enough subscribers that whenever I challenge Nerdrotic to a discussion or a debate or whatever, nobody can say, oh, he doesn't want to do that because he doesn't want to give you attention, or you're just trying to get fucking clout or whatever. No, I would love to have just as much, just about subs of him, if only for the reason, because then he would have no fucking excuse except to talk to me, you know? And he would be shown to be a fucking, you know, fair weather, you know, dipshit, as we've shown time and time again. Yeah, they're scared of fucking, man. Bob Chaos came in like a fucking thunderstorm, fucking like a tornado, and fucked Eric's life up.
He did the Bobs proud. Although I still have to dethrone him, but
yeah,
he did.
I mean,
he did us proud.
do something as cool as that, you know? Oh man, oh Tony, sad man. Oh God, every once in a while you just show back up and you're like, hey, remember me? Let's pretend like I didn't come on your channel and completely biff my entire fucking argument about Sweet Baby Inc. and completely fold on every level to every fucking
is this
point
Frog
that I put
Tony?
out there. Let's can we forget about that? I'm gonna say something really fucking lame here and just please. Did your coloring book ever come out, Tony? Ever come out?
That was Frog Tony, co-partner, bro.
He's got to try and come back and cope a little harder. He's gonna fucking make a fucking video out of this and act like, oh, I got him. He did a dodge. The Olympic judges scoring that dodge. I mean, I'm down to talk to Tony, man. I don't think he wants to talk to me.
They lose every time, and they know they lose, and we know that they know they lose because they shut their fucking mouths about you afterwards.
Oh, you got a channel?
And they never mention you again.
Let's see.
Well, thank you.
Oh shit, you do. You got a sub for me, man, or my lady? I don't know, whichever one you are.
Yeah, if your channel, Darks Novia, is an actual channel with videos, I'll go subscribe to it.
It is.
Okay.
I mean, yeah. Good to know. Good to know. Well, I mean, I guess, since he brought it up, I can bring up the clips here and we can take a look at those moments in time. Let's see. We got Frog Walking Tony here.
If I hire Eric to paint my house, right? Hey, Eric, I need you to paint my house blue. I want you to paint it blue. And so that's the parameters, paint it. And he's out there painting it, listening to music. I go, I didn't hire you to listen to music. You go, well, you can't control what music I listen to.
I'll say, Tony, like, weren't you supposed to be the chosen one, man? Like, I mean, you literally call yourself that here, but like, I mean, that's kind of the vibe that I got, that you were being benighted by Ethan Van Sciver to be like the next fucking guy or whatever. And like, you didn't even make it to Comicsgate King status. Katie Did's clip channel made it to King before you did. Like, did anybody fall off harder than you, bro?
As long as the house gets painted, I've fulfilled the parameters of my job. So if the company goes, hey, I need you to make a new action-adventure game set in the 1980s Miami, and we give it to them, that should be it. That should be the end of where they get off and on, right?
But Tony, if Sweet Baby Inc. is being contracted to write, as they often are per some of the coverage that I've seen of this, if they're being contracted to write supplemental material for the game, then isn't that like the painting your house example that you brought up earlier, where they're being contracted and Sweet Baby Inc.?
You haven't read any Marvel or DC these days. You know you haven't, dude. You're fucking grifting on that shit the way Ethan does and the way Eric does. Y'all haven't read shit in years. You read like one or two comics that had some legacy character in them in like 2017 and then said, oh, it's all ruined now. They fucking went woke and now I'm gonna fucking make a YouTube channel and fucking repeat that shit forever without ever actually reading any comics, man. There's good ones and there's bad ones. Shilling is a really easy fucking accusation to fucking throw at somebody whenever you don't want to accept that we say there's good and bad Marvel comics, just like there always has been. DC as well. I've actually never really been a huge DC fan, but they've been doing better shit in the last couple of years than I remember them ever doing. And,
DC's art and writing now is better than it's been in decades.
Bro, I promise you, I can pull up damn near any fucking modern Marvel or DC book and just, it's not pieced out of context, dude. No, it's not. What are you talking about?
You just look bad. It's that simple. You're just stupid.
Most of it is one extended fucking segment of conversation with no edits, bro. It's you bringing up a hypothetical and then Chariot going, hey, you remember that hypothetical you said earlier? It kind of goes against everything you're saying here. And then I say, can you at least acknowledge that it's not some evil agenda? And you're like, oh, I don't know if I said it was evil. And then I cut to your video where you said it was evil. And then it cuts back to where you said, oh, I don't know, I say a lot of stuff. Thereby acknowledging that you just fucking talk shit. You just say shit for clicks, bro. That's what you've always done.
is now allowed to write things for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they are. And the problem, or I guess the problem, I'm putting quotation marks, maybe you can't hear them, but the problem is,
Tony, hit me up on Discord or email or something if you want to have a conversation, man. We can work that out. But I'm not going to sit here and fucking, let you cope in my chat. You know what I mean? Sorry, bud. I'm sure you got better stuff to do, right?
Ooh, he'll be live reacting later. Ooh,
saying that
I'm
Sweet
so
Baby Ink is
scared.
putting in woke stuff. I don't agree with all that.
You should respect their vision by your earlier logic.
I do. I don't have a problem with their vision.
Oh, he doesn't have a problem.
My whole contention.
Make note, there's no cuts throughout this, except for whenever he says that he doesn't know that he said something. He doesn't think he said evil, did he? And then I cut to show that he actually did say that. So
there's always been
evil,
what are they doing?
And it's like I think it's fair. Can we get you to agree that you can't really justifiably use the word evils or say that they are contributing to some kind of evil plot or anything when you literally don't have a shred of evidence that that's actually happening? Can you acknowledge that?
Did I say evil plot?
In your video, you did say evils. The evils that they're doing, yeah.
To recap, Sweet Baby Ink recently became the target.
I just want you to listen to the tone of his claim here, which is this is a direct response. The conversation that we had with him was a direct response to our take on this video of his, and the tone of aggression and just certainty of the evil deeds that Sweet Baby Ink are engaged in or whatever, compared to how he'd been sounding and how he sounds right after this.
Group, which claimed the company was forcing studios it worked with to increase diversity within its games, and accused of it of pushing a quote woke agenda into the industry. Following a report into the claims by Kotaku, a number of game developers have spoken up to clear up misconceptions about what companies like Sweet Baby Ink actually do. I'm going to stop you right fucking there.
And I want you to follow this logic as well. I'm only pausing here. I'm not cutting anything. The logic, his argument here is at this point was, if a company is accused of doing some kind of woke shit and infecting games with some kind of unwanted woke thing by random people on the internet, and then the company goes, actually, that's not what we do. Here's how our business model works. Here's what we do. And then the response is, oh, and you expect us to believe whatever you say. Of course you would say that. You know what I mean? You've created a scenario there where you've created a scenario there where there is no fucking winning strategy. The truth can never be actually known. It's always going to be on, you're going to have that person on the back foot. And that's what a grifter does, is to, no matter what that person says. Now think about applying that same tactic to, let's say, Tony from Geek Getaway is accused of SA. Okay. And you go, and there's no evidence for it. Just somebody claiming it. The same thing with Sweet Baby Ink. There's no evidence for it. Just some people claiming some shit. And then Tony goes, no, actually what happened was, and then everybody's response is the same as Tony's was in this case, right? Oh, of course you would say that. Of course you would say that. That's because you're a fucking SA motherfucker. That's because you're a rapist. You know what I mean? That's the same fucking logic, if you want to call it that. It's not logic. It's illogical. It's irrational. Yeah. It's not a way to find truth. It's not a way to find any kind of fact. It's just a way to fucking grift. It's a grift tactic.
It's a grift, and it's also how fascism works.
Let me stop.
It's how fascism works, yeah.
You right fucking there. Okay? If a company is being accused of nefariously injecting personal politics into their games, they're being accused of all these evils. Probably. I don't know, I say a lot of things.
Okay. No, it's not, man. It's really not. You should go back and watch the first part of this stream. I'm gonna drop Bob's link. I suggest you watch Bob's video before you come back and comment on that, to be honest.
Yeah, nothing has changed. Daniel does not look better.
I'm gonna drop that link in chat right now. Look, I get that nobody wants to be wrong. That's the one extension of understanding that I'm willing to give to some people that may be reacting to this just, kind of, oh, there's an accusation. Oh, I'm going with that. And then, oh, wait, but now this, I better change my mind so I don't look foolish. Nobody wants to look foolish. Nobody wants to be wrong about this kind of shit. But that's why you have to be strong in understanding your own morals and have, your axioms grounded and just, stick to that, because regardless of whatever alternate facts, not alternative facts, but alternate facts are presented outside of that first video claim, as long as there's nothing that changes the literal fucking act that had taken place, alleged to have taken place, which nothing in there does change that. It doesn't matter the context of their relationship. It doesn't matter the context of money being exchanged, or he turns out he had some edibles or something. That none of that changes. That whenever you force yourself on someone, that is SA.
Yeah.
Anyway. He literally fucking rubbed his hands together. I remember that too. Jesus Christ. He was like, "Oh, Sweet Baby Ink. I'm going to make some money. I'm going to make some." Then a few months later, his channel's fucking on life support. You're welcome.
The use of the word evil to describe that is just so bizarre. Like they what's evil about assuming wokeness as they define it actually exists, which it does not, but give them the benefit of the doubt. What exactly is evil about it? I don't get it. Like,
well, so the claim was, and this is me steel manning their argument, by the way.
Okay.
The claim was that they had threatened to go woke social justice warrior all over social media, and that basically this 16 employee company, Sweet Baby Inc., had the entire fucking video game industrial complex, their fucking balls in a vice because they were scared of shit of being called racists or homophobes on Twitter. And so they had to let them insert their fucking woke ideology, propaganda agenda bullshit into these video games so that they don't get called racists on Twitter. Talking about the most the most profitable industry to ever exist, or at least entertainment industry to ever exist, video games. Talking about some of the largest entertainment companies in the fucking history of the world that are just like, oh no, the 16-person company is going to call us racists on Twitter. We better let them do whatever they want in our video games. It's fucking absurd.
It is. It's so dumb, and it's like the JQ with the serial numbers filed off. Basically, there's this tiny shadowy cabal of people with mystical powers or something who are pulling the strings of everyone and trying to wipe out the white race for reasons. I don't know.
I don't know either. I really don't. I don't understand it. Oh, look, I got another one here. Might as well show it. Oh, not that one. This one.
Some of the actions that the people of Sweet Baby Inc. have done outside of their game consultations. Like, I think going after people, trying to shut down the list, attacking people on social media and everything. I hate that they felt they had to do that, but I don't agree with those actions. However, I think a consultation firm that provides information for companies that may want to make sure the diversity in their games is done properly, if they want to include it, I think is a good service. And that's not talking about like whether or not they go in and rewrite stuff or whatever. I think a consultation firm is a valid service to exist if they are in fact going in and just consulting on the aspects of the game that they're being hired to do the job on. Because I don't agree with like going after and trying to shut down the list. All of those products were found on their website, so you could have literally just copy and pasted that from that website to the Steam.
I mean, the list speaks for itself anyway, considering the fact that the guy has admitted he didn't play any of the games, and he's just like, he's got these vibes of wokeness from them, and so he put together a list, and it's like, and now you got people like there's legit saying that if there's anything that kind of has a woke vibe to it, then that must be Sweet Baby Inc., even if they're not like, claiming that they worked on the game. So it's just this is the reason that I have a problem with, just like getting on a stream and just saying shit that without any evidence and suggesting or even outright saying that they are doing some nefarious evil thing when there's no evidence of it, because you've got idiots, people that are much dumber than you, Tony, that are like, oh, that means everything woke is this company. These 16 people are fucking influencing the entire game industry now. It just kind of seems irresponsible, to say the least.
I mean, yeah, these are taken out of context in the sense that I'm not letting Tony's bad arguments play. I'm actually doing him a favor by not playing his bad arguments before I play those.
Here's the thing about editors, people who edit videos and are good at it, they have a better sense of what the rambling streamer person's actual argument is than the streamer person does. And they can prune the parts that are irrelevant, like Dane did. You got to the core through editing, you got to the core of Tony's argument, and the rest of it is just piss in the river.
Well, see, what he wants people to do is, if after hearing that, if they're still not sure, where they sit on the matter or whatever, is he wants them to go listen to him retcon what happened in that discussion. Instead of what they could do and go watch the full discussion on my channel, which is unedited. I mean, there's a beginning part before he joined. I'll disclose all the edits. Before he joined the stream, I cut all that out. So it's basically starts whenever he joins the stream. There's no, you know what? Maybe there's a couple of like time things or something like that. I don't know. Cut out of there, like not discussion, but like blank time or something like that. That's possible. I would do that probably because nobody likes to sit for fucking dead air. But yeah, other than that, that's it. It's weird. It's weird that he wants to it's weird that he wants to keep showing back up, to be honest. Like, it's one thing to just just go lick your wounds. You go to your corner of the internet and I'll stay over here in mine. I haven't fucked with you. You know what I mean? Because I can make you look pretty silly. Anytime I happen to look over at his channel and I want to talk about something that he's talked about, I could probably make him look pretty silly just by showing and providing context for the thing he's wrong or lying about. And yet it's like he wants more,
Yeah.
Because he doesn't really care. It's really just about, let's fucking get some clicks. Let's get some controversy. Great. That's why he's like, I'm going to be streaming this later. Like, I don't give a fuck, dude. I mean, how many fucking views are you going to get? I was watching whenever you're getting like 12 viewers for your streams and shit, man. Come on. Anyway.
Yeah. And it's never us going into their comments or their stream chat ever. No. We never do that. They always come to our domain and think they're going to run the show. And then we just ignore them unless they come bother us. They're bullies. And they're not very good at it.
I mean, it's the exact same thing, man, is what it is. It's like it's all been a smokescreen for that the whole time.
Oh, they're less than one step away. They've already done it.
Yeah.
They have already done it. Yeah.
Anyway.
I swear, Dadgy, I'm not a flamer.
He swears.
That was such a fun stream we did the other night, man. That wow.
It was fun. Yeah, I got probably an hour and a half of ranting for Dad's acceptance content. It's gonna be a struggle to figure out if I'm gonna cut it down or anything. Because an hour and a half video is gonna start, losing some views toward the end of it.
Yeah.
Flame on, Dadgy. I mean, off, Dadgy. Flame off. I'm not a flamer.
Rock hard like me, Dadgy.
Rock hard. Rock flag and eagle.
I think we're gonna have to just start the main stream topic without Morgan.
I guess so.
Kick a little ass and kick some ass in the USA. Rise up, gonna kick a little ass and kick some ass in the USA. Rise up, gonna kick a little ass and kick some ass in the USA. Rise up, kick a little ass. Rock flag and eagle. Rock flag and eagle.
That's the America I believe in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even care. Like, I'm cool with like the corniness of fucking flags and eagles and shit like that when it was just like a relatively harmless thing. It's just that people take these symbols, and that's a good segue. Let's get into it, because I remember it's not Vadim, actually. I don't think it's Vadim. I thought it was at first.
I was wondering who Vadim reminded me of this whole time. Every time I see Vadim, I was like, he reminds me of somebody. Who is it? Now I know.
Oh. Just a new Peacemaker opening. We could be so lucky. I hope they don't change the opening, honestly. I'm gonna be hyped when that shit comes back new and we get that song. Anyway. Oh, I do have a new thing. I'm not gonna debut it because it's just a green screen. I haven't done anything with it yet, but it is You know what? I'm gonna show it. It's fun. Hey, it's a good thing I decided to do that because I think we are joined now.
The one, the only.
one.
Yay!
I'm not the one. That's Keanu Reeves.
Okay, but here's the thing.
Don't do drugs.
You can't tell me what to do.
I mean, or do them. Just do them responsibly is all. You know.
Take that shit to Yancey Street.
Yeah, get your drugs back down there on Aunt Yancey Street. My poor Aunt Petunia. Well, she's been smoking the chronic for her fucking, cataracts, but sweet Aunt Petunia.
Sweet Aunt Petunia. How's it going, gents?
Aunt Petunia, has she ever been in the comics? She has to have been, right?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Morgan is the one. She just doesn't want to admit it.
Aww.
It's just like Neo. You know, remember how he's like, oh, I don't know, I'm just some guy or whatever.
Morgan, we stalled for almost 1 hour of time waiting for
my God. You guys could have just started.
Well, we
We needed to address some bullshit first about,
Yeah.
I wanted to show Bob's video that he uploaded just about an hour ago.
Oh, fair.
Very good. And then kind of address that a bit, as well as then we had Frog Tony showed up, and he's trying his thing again, where he's like, "Hey, remember me? I used to be somebody," or I thought it was going to be somebody, but it seems like even EVS has dropped his ass. So pretty sad.
Yeah, he heard that you and EVS were getting on. He thought you were the secret way back into EVS's heart.
Oh no,
Frog Tony will never be Cyber Frog Tony.
Don't worry, Frog Tony. The video that's scheduled to go out in the morning, I'm pretty sure me and Ethan won't be friends anymore after that. So,
ooh, oopsies.
It's called something like Ethan Van Sciver takes way more credit than he deserves for characters like Glob Herman.
Oh damn!
Yeah.
Just
all right.
Starting fights, are we?
You know how I mean, it's kind of what this channel was begun to do.
That's true.
And I'm proud of the fights that I've won, but I must say that I'm part of a larger fight that we're not doing so good right now.
No.
And to start that conversation off, I remember when I was in my fucking edgelord new atheist phase on Facebook in like 2011, something like 2010, 2011. And, I've talked about it before. It's like I used to go around with a group of other guys from this group that we were in. And like anytime there was some news story, local news story somewhere in the US, it was like, oh, they're making these cheerleaders do a prayer on the fucking, on the field or whatever. It would be like, oh, like the atheist symbol went up or something.
Oh, jeez.
And we, roll into the fucking comment section talking mad shit to these Christians and stuff. Just pissing them off and trolling, and we thought we were doing something useful. It's a lot like how like American leftists are online. Like, oh yeah, liberal. Well, we were just doing the same thing. Oh yeah, theist. Well, you're a fucking idiot. And all right, our work here is done.
Just chest bump and fly off.
Yeah, exactly. Feeling real good about ourselves. But anyway, no, I remember that there was, a meme that it's probably been around a long time. I don't remember who said the quote. Maybe one of y'all do. But that when fascism comes to America, it'll be carrying a cross and wearing a flag, draped in a flag. And I was like, oh yeah, that's true. That feels very true. And it's kind of not in a way, but it also is. Like it feels like the tip of the spear of fascism was not that it was 4chan and you know what I'm saying, like fucking that was actually the thing that ushered it in, like kind of injected it in through the back door, so to speak, was just like internet edgelord culture. And and now that the fascism has won, now the flags and the fucking the crosses are becoming more visible because we've got Trump wanting to sign laws about anti-Christian bias and which just plays on the idea that Christians for the longest time have always thought that they in fact were Christ and they have been persecuted against instead of being the dominant culture in the world, or part of the world, and definitely in the country, and that they many of their fucking ideals have made their way into just common law and the Constitution, even things like that. So
I think what we have here is a a merging of two fascisms.
Yeah.
I think the online edgelord fascist, the Elon Musk style of fascism, though I feel like that gives him too much credit.
Because he's adopting a lot of stuff from like 10 years ago. It's kind of funny. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
not really funny, but it is kind of funny.
I would feel remiss if I did not point out that a lot of the talking points popularized on 4chan and other places on the internet originated with Christian nationalism.
Yeah.
Sure.
Even if the 4chaners did not know it. As a lot of the Chud fandom space are now learning, much to their embarrassment, all of their talking points all the way down have been Christian nationalism right from the beginning.
The whole time, yeah.
And now that some of them are taking their masks off and going full Christian nationalism, the rest of them are going, what? You want to take away my titties and boobies and video games? What?
But that's
gone with you, witch.
That's for straight guys. For straight guys win, right? Like,
no, boy, I got some bad news for you. So no, I think that the Christian nationalism influenced those. That's sort of where I was. Bob got right where I was going. Is that the Christian nationalists absorbed those edgy fascists? 1 second. There we go. And the authoritarian streak in our American Christian culture dates back, I mean, probably to the Second Great Awakening in some aspects. Because, you have things like the Comstock laws. Comstock was a devout Christian. And that's certainly a set of proto-fascist laws that remain on the books.
Yeah.
The European fascists were inspired by our segregation laws and Jim Crow. So
I would argue it dates back to the Puritans.
Oh yeah,
because they were so extreme that the theocracy in Britain kicked them out.
Yeah.
But I also have always held on to the observation by Frederick Douglass that there are two Christianities in America. He called one the Christianity of this land, by which he meant white Christian slave-holding theology. And then he called it the other one the Christianity of Christ, which he held to be the Black church tradition.
Right.
And these two have intersected in many ways over the years, but they're not the same thing.
No.
And I think we should put a pin in saying that when in this discussion, when we talk about Christian nationalism, we're talking about white, or at least I am talking about white evangelical Christian nationalism.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, Christianity has a lot of problems, to be sure, and a very, very storied history, to be sure. But what we're talking about here is in many ways, a distinctly modern and distinctly American strain of the Christian religion. And a distinctly white one, too.
Right. Well, you go back to the divide within the Southern Baptist Church, and why we have the Southern Baptist Church is that religion divided over slavery.
Yep.
And not that they were the only Christian sect in America to deal with that or to make that call. But they're certainly the most well-known and most prominent today. And their alliance with they onboarded Catholics onto their bullshit with taking anti-abortion positions, which was not originally part of that sect of Christianity.
No, see, that was the Catholics absorbing the evangelicals. Like the rise of evangelical anti-abortion, pro-life politics was in a lot of ways the Catholicization of white evangelicalism. I
think it's a marriage of the two.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think they both had things the other wanted. I think they both shared a loathing of liberal Catholics like John F. Kennedy.
Yeah.
Because that's sort of where you get those two groups realizing that, like, wait a minute, conservative Catholics and conservative mainline and conservative Protestants, they all hate JFK. what if we find things we can agree on to fuck up America? And they've been doing that ever since. But, you know, it's important when we talk about American fascism that fascist thought was inspired by American authoritarianism and American segregation. And so really it's kind of our chickens coming home to roost in a lot of ways.
Yeah. This story may be apocryphal, but I haven't had a chance to check on it, but I heard on a podcast the other day that I was listening to at work, and I don't remember the name of the podcast, unfortunately, but there's an apocryphal story that Hitler sent German lawyers to the Jim Crow South to study the way it worked and stuff. And those Nazi lawyers came back and to Germany and said, we could never pull this off in Germany. It's too crazy and too extreme.
I don't know about that last part, but I know that there were numerous German Nazi thinkers that studied the American legal system and our history of genocide with the indigenous people here, and the Jim Crow South to do what they ended up doing. Yeah, and that's the other thing RX brings up is the Second Vatican Council.
Oh, yeah, that was a major radicalizing event for right-wing Catholics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Big fucking deal saying mass in your native tongue.
But maybe we'll get to that.
Yeah.
What are you doing, Dane?
I'm just kind of organizing some stuff here.
Oh, okay. Because that comment about Catholicism and the Second Vatican Council ties directly into what's going on with J.D. Vance and his spat he's having with the Pope right now, which is a subcategory of the bigger question we're talking about tonight.
I mean, it just made it seem like J.D. Vance's version of Catholicism is just Catholicism in name, but he's really just like a fucking doing the deeds of Southern Baptism, both Southern Baptists, right?
Well, yes and no. Like the kind of Catholic that J.D. Vance is, and the people he listens to have been. He's a follower of an archbishop who's been excommunicated by the current pope, and they hate Protestants. Right. So one of the divisions that I think we're going to be seeing expand over the next 4 years is the fact that now that radical right-wing Catholics have essentially gotten abortion banned or are very close to getting a national ban, the usefulness of white evangelicals to them is over.
Right.
So we may start seeing a schism between these two factions.
There remains within Protestant sects, especially more conservative Protestant sects, that Catholics are not Christians. And so the highest person of Christian faith in the country is the vice president. He's a member of this extremist Catholic sect. Because Donald Trump is as Christian as I am. Though I'm maybe even more so because I've at least read the damn book. And Elon Musk is not a Catholic or a Christian at all. He's an atheist, in his own words.
Well, let's check out this video from Dan McClellan.
Sure.
If that's what you're leading to, Bob.
Yeah, we can start there, I guess.
Get it.
What the hell is playing here? Is that me?
I don't know.
Something's playing. Oh. What the hell here? Dude, what the fuck? I'm sorry.
Okay. To answer a question in chat, what do you call a Catholic protesting against the Catholic Church? What do I call them? They belong to a different Catholic sect. What do Catholics call them? Heretics.
Yeah. They're like, the reason the Catholic Church is called the Roman Catholic Church is that there are other Catholic traditions. Most of them do not have strongholds in Europe and the US.
No.
But they do exist. The sect that J.D. Vance is aligned with broke from the church, the current Roman Church, very, very recently.
Yeah.
Opus Dei, who I see Paul Hammond referring to, or Opus DEI, as I like to call them, is so kind of they're kind of part of the current church and kind of not. They're like the embarrassing uncle at the Catholic dinner that they all still accept him as a member of the family, but they kind of just don't talk about it very much, and they wish he would go away.
Stitch incoming. Do not harass her apart. This creator.
Yeah, this is Dan McClellan. He's one of my favorite content creators right now. He's a scholar of the Bible and of the cognitive science of religion. And he runs a podcast called Data Over Dogma, where it's him and an atheist podcaster whose name I forget. And they debunk.
It's a Mormon and an atheist, right?
Well, I think Dan McClellan is a Mormon, but he's a critical theory biblical scholar.
Oh, sure. Okay.
And him and his atheist co-host debunk goofy claims about the history of Christianity from both sides. So it's an interesting podcast.
Let's see.
School, and I think it's a very Christian concept, by the way.
All right, let's see it.
You love your family, and then you love your neighbor, and then you love your community, and then you love your fellow citizens in your own country. And then after that, you can focus and prioritize the rest of the world.
So this is a Christian concept in the sense that Christian nationalists commonly use it as a rhetorical smokescreen for their bigotry. However, it is both inaccurate and insincere. It's inaccurate because it purports to be Augustine's Ordo Amoris, order of love, or St. Thomas Aquinas's order of charity, but it is neither. It is actually what both describe as the natural order that is supposed to be subordinated to the order of love or the order of charity. See, for both men, you're supposed to love God and love your neighbor. And within the category of neighbor, they don't distinguish hierarchies. You love everyone. Now, both men also recognize that there is a natural intuitive impulse to prioritize proximity and to love those you are closest to and that you are around the most.
And I would say that that's even pragmatic to a degree.
Yeah.
But that's
and they recognize and they acknowledge that.
I know, man. It's fucking evil, dude. Such evil shit.
Here we are once again committing the sin of empathy.
It's empathy. Compassion's okay.
It's my favorite sin.
I don't know. I kind of like. I'll tell you what I like. I like gluttony.
But they also subordinate that natural order to the order of love or the order of charity, which requires that you love everyone. And both of them talk about how if you love those closest to you to the exclusion, to the harm, to the marginalization of those further away, then that natural order is disordered and it violates the order of love and the order of charity. Both of them say that you cannot do that. Augustine wants you to love all so that all can come to love God. And he recognizes that you cannot equally distribute your love to everyone on.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We should. I think we should.
Put a poll up.
But do we have to pick a real sin, or?
I mean, if we're going to be like, we might as well be like these Christians that make up sins and like empathy. So we, whatever.
Yeah, because I'm quite fond of empathy.
Yeah, honestly. I'm a big fan of the sin of empathy.
I don't know. I like that self-lust. Yeah. Sorry.
On earth, but he suggests that you hierarchize things according to the accident.
I'll tell you what sin I don't like, though. Morgan, you missed it. So I'll go ahead and just say this again. I don't fucking like any kind of out of wedlock intimate relationships. So I went ahead and I'm going to be getting hitched.
Woo! Let's go.
Yeah.
Proximity. So if we
I know someone who can marry you. I know an ordained minister.
I'm an ordained minister. I can marry myself. I don't know if I can, but I am an ordained minister in Dudism.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm a Dudist priest.
Yeah. Just as legit as anything else, folks. I mean, as long as you get the goddamn legal paperwork signed, that's all that matters. You can say you're a Pastafarian.
We see at the bottom of this page, all other men are to be loved equally.
I'm sorry. I'm a little bit amused by his decision to put the page just on his
Right
face.
over his face.
That's right. That's right.
But since you cannot be of assistance to everyone, those especially are to be cared for who are most closely bound to you by place, time, or opportunity, as if by chance. Thus, suppose you had an abundance of something which it would be well to give to someone else who
Okay, I have to do this because, yeah, I mean, not only do I actually have a rug that looks exactly like the one in the movie, my mouse pad is the dude rug. So I'm a little bit of a fan of that movie.
Just a bit.
lacked it, but you could not give it to two. If two came to you, of whom neither took precedence either in need or in any special connection with you, you could do nothing more just than to decide by lot which one should be given that which you could not give to both. Thus, in the same way among men, not all of whom you can care for, you must consider as if selected by lot, each one as he is able to be more closely.
Hey, Bob, I'm going to ask you to interpret here, because I just want to say that, like, you know, sometimes the Bible has some really strong ideas that I think are, you know, just ethically, morally, universally good. Man, economy of words is not one of its fucking strong suits.
Nope.
Holy shit.
He's reading from Augustine, who was writing in the 4th century. I want to say the 4th century, maybe the 5th century.
I thought you were going to say the fourth person, and I was going to be like, oh my God, what even is this?
Dan McClellan is going to summarize it and sum it up.
Gotcha.
Pretty good.
Okay.
And I want to point out also, he puts the page on his face like this because he also does TikTok content.
Oh.
So when they trim this down they edit this for TikTok, it goes directly in the middle.
Right on.
In time. So, in other words, you don't have these ideological categories that you put on people you don't know, and then you order your love based on those ideological categories. You love the people you come into contact with, whether undocumented immigrants or not. You do not love the native citizen in your town that you do not know more than the undocumented immigrant in your town that you do not know. That is disordered natural love, according to Augustine, and that results in sin and disharmony. Now, for Aquinas, the goal is not necessarily just so that love of God increases. Aquinas talks about the common good and social order, and again says that you should not disorder your natural affections. If love of someone close to you results in neglect for someone at a distance from you, then that love is disordered. So this is misrepresenting the ordo amoris, the order of charity. It is pretending to be that, but really what it's doing is inverting the natural order over and above the order of love and the order of charity in order to make it seem like they are authorized to neglect the person at a distance from them. But that brings up the other issue, that it is also insincere, because, as J.D. Vance has demonstrated numerous times over in his political career, he is more than happy to neglect the people in his own community, because he, in accordance with right-wing authoritarian and social dominance orientation identity politics, opposes programs that support the poor and the vulnerable and the needy, whether that's because of socioeconomics, whether that's because of race, whether that's because of ideology, sexual identity, all those things. There are plenty of times where J.D. Vance has advocated for neglecting the people that are close to him because they don't support his ideologies, which is a flagrant violation of both the Ordo Amoris as well as the order of charity. Vance is not suggesting we can't take care of others until we take care of our own, because Vance is not interested in taking care of our own. If he were, then we would have a much more robust social safety net. We would not be marginalizing and minoritizing and oppressing groups based on sexual orientation or sexual identity or things like that. We would actually be taking care of our own. But right-wing authoritarianism is not particularly adept at doing that. What they are adept at is rhetorical prophylaxis for their bigotry, which is exactly what Vance is doing here.
A lot of the far left has completely inverted that. They seem to hate the citizens of their own country and care more about people outside their own borders. That is no way to run a society.
So this is a laughably insincere claim that not even the vice president actually believes.
Can you pause it for a minute?
Vance knows this is
I want to point out what Dan McClellan is saying right here is what Pope Francis said in the letter to the U.S. bishops that that was issued, I think, last week, condemning the U.S. immigration policy. He specifically called out J.D. Vance, but he was much more polite about it than Dan McClellan is being. But they're making exactly the same argument.
Right.
Which is why I shared this video, because this explains what Pope Francis meant better than I could.
Progressive folks spend an awful lot of time advocating for the interests of the minoritized, the marginalized, the oppressed communities here within the United States. And Vance knows.
I mean, that's not an excuse. Lots of people grow up poor and don't like the key distinction with him and most people who grow up poor is that he at some point decided, if I fucking just bend over backwards, tie myself in knots to appeal to the rich fucks who just are looking for a yes man, then I will get anywhere I want in life. And that's brought him to the vice presidency.
Yeah, lots of people grow up poor.
Vance has to spend an awful.
Not everyone grows up to be a piece of shit.
Right. A lot of people fuck their couches, There
are some sexy couches out there.
Dude, there's some of those couches got curves. Look, I felt bad for the guy when people were going after him. I'm like, look, I get it, JD. That's the most relatable thing you've ever done.
No, I grew up in a house where you sleep not on couches, not with couches.
Well, we didn't have such arbitrary boundaries in our
career advocating directly over and against the interests of minoritized and marginalized and oppressed communities here within the United States. What Vance is doing here is aping the moral circle heat map meme, which is a right-wing authoritarian misunderstanding and misrepresentation of an image that is provided in this research. Ideological differences in the expanse of the moral circle. You've probably seen either one or both of these heat map images. On the left, we have the highest value on the heat map scale for conservatives. I
did see this a few weeks ago, and I thought about maybe we should cover it on the FAPcast, and I kind of forgot about it. Like, I saw some people actually using this as if it's some objective metric for their morality or whatever. And I'm like, I doubt it. Press X to doubt,
Yeah.
I mean, basically, if you have to go out of your way to prove if you're like, look, literally, here's a heat map of my morality and why it's better than leftists or whatever, then I'm just going to fucking doubt you have any morality whatsoever.
Yeah. Why did you have to show me that?
Yep.
Yeah. McClellan debunks this too. It's very good.
Awesome.
I mean, it's literally saying that some people, are like amphibians or reptiles. I don't know. I don't think it doesn't sound very moral.
Right, we have the highest value on the heat map scale for liberals. And what right-wing authoritarians misunderstand this heat map to mean is that liberals prioritize the interests of all humans on Earth, as well as inanimate objects and plants and animals throughout the universe, over and directly against the interests of their own families and their own communities. And they misunderstand.
My family hasn't eaten in weeks, but I go down to the shelter and I'm like, hey, I just went and got a bunch of food. You guys hungry?
I stole a sandwich out of my mother's hand and took it, and I pushed her down because she tried to hold on to it like the selfish monster that she is. And I took that sandwich to the monkey in the yard next to me, who's cruelly caged by the evil animal hating person who lives there. So yeah. Confirmed.
Yeah. Map is legit, clearly.
And the conservative heat map to indicate that conservatives appropriately prioritize the interests of their own families and those around them over and again.
There's a false kind of underlying thing that I'm guessing that conservatives must believe with this type of thing, which is that maybe they don't literally believe that we're literally taking food out of our immediate families' mouths to feed some poor people or whatever, but in the terms of national spending, federal spending for aid out, aiding other countries and stuff like that, that if we aren't paying all this money to you said over into Africa and stuff like that, then there will be more, the price of eggs will come down, for instance.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a fucking bullshit lie. That money's not going directly back into the food banks or the food. You know, nobody's getting fucking a bump in their taxes except for billionaires. You know what I mean? Nobody's getting. In fact, they're going to be cutting people off of aid programs shortly. I'm sure. They've already started.
They already are.
So I mean, like, if it would be one thing, if there was even any legitimacy to saying that, then we could at least argue over the fucking actual morality, the ethics of choosing to focus your money on one thing or other. Like, if we're actually having an argument about America first, which is what they want people to think they're doing, right? Like, oh, we're going to take care of Americans first. We'll start, motherfucker. Then we can, you know, like, just do it.
Yeah.
Do it. Oh, you're not going to? I didn't think so.
The classic thing, like, oh, we can't help people from other countries. We have to help people here.
Yeah.
We have to help poor people. Okay, can you help people? No, we can't help poor people. We have to help veterans. Well, can you help veterans? No, we have to help we have to help children. Can we?
All these babies are dying.
No.
Okay, so what are you going to do for all the babies that are, you know, underfed and neglected and out on the streets? Oh, nothing. We're going to put them in prison.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a 2-panel meme floating around that shows, in panel 1, it shows a caricature of Donald Trump saying, we have to take care of our own before we take care of the rest of the world. And then the second panel zooms out, and there's a starving person holding their hand out going, please feed me. And then Donald Trump says, fuck off, get a job.
Right.
Yeah.
While he cuts all the federal spending to ruin a bunch of jobs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Inanimate objects elsewhere in the universe. And this misunderstanding is based on a very unclear statement in the discussion of the procedure. You see the top highlighted statement says, we also explained to participants that these categories were non-overlapping, such that giving to one category, e.g. extended family, would not include an inclusive category, e.g. immediate family. This makes it sound like whatever you choose to highlight on those concentric circles excludes all the other categories. And that would be correct if this were a description of the procedure that resulted in the heat maps, but it's not. This is an entirely different procedure that is a part of study 3A in this article. This is talking about the allocation of 100 different moral points. This is not the procedure that resulted in the heat maps. You have to go down below. In addition, participants also completed a more qualitative measure of the extent of their moral circle by clicking on rungs extending outward and representing the same categories as in the moral allocation task. See supplementary note 4. This measure allowed us to create heat maps to visualize the relative sizes of liberals and conservatives' moral circles. Let's go to supplementary note 4 and look at the highlighted statement. Note that in this scale, the number you select includes the numbers below it as well. So if you select 10, all mammals, you are also including numbers 1 through 9, up to all people on all continents in your moral circle.
Oh, wait. So are you saying that this version of a forced adversity type situation is based on people not understanding what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Has that ever happened on this podcast before?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think I've heard this one before.
I mean, like, oh no, that's right. Yeah, it was in that 100 episodes prior to this one.
Yeah, and the numbers 1 through all of them.
Yep.
Yeah. And to be clear for the layman among us, because Dan doesn't quite clear this up as succinctly as he needs to, what the study says is that the liberal heat map is inclusive of all other moral categories. So when liberals rank all mammals higher on their moral scale, they are including all humans, then, humans in their country and their family and so on. And conservatives claim that they are excluding them.
Yeah, that like
because
somehow
conservatives don't know that humans are mammals because they're snake people from beneath the Earth's surface.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
I would say that you probably would need to distinguish what part of Asia you're talking about, to be honest. I think there's probably different types of conservatism in Asia.
I have no idea. Like a conservative is different, what that
is. Well, I mean, I just know that there's a lot of different cultures in Asia. It's a fucking big spot.
Well,
like
I don't know much about Asian culture, so I do not have a strong opinion on
I
Asian
know
cultures.
very little. I do know that Japanese conservatives and Korean conservatives are not the same thing, and they do not like each other.
Yep.
Every number is inclusive of the concentric circles below it. So when liberals state that the extent of their moral circle goes out to all people on all continents or inanimate objects everywhere in the universe, it includes everything below it. Now, if you look on the conservative heat map, the red area extends out to about number 4, which means that the highest extent of the conservative moral circle goes to all of your friends, including distant ones. And then it drops off sharply once we get to all of your acquaintances. In other words, conservatives only care about everybody falling more or less within Dunbar's number. So this is a pretty intuitive, this is a pretty evolutionarily natural concept of where our moral concern should be located. But again, the moral circle heat map is widely misunderstood and misrepresented by folks who think that it means that liberals don't care about their own families. Nobody who knows progressives thinks that's true. And if you think that's true, you need to grow the hell up, just like the vice president, who actually told people that liberals have inverted this concern because they're advocating for the well-being and the humanity of undocumented immigrants. For Vance, this is a zero-sum game. If you're advocating for one, you're excluding the other. Why? Because that's how right-wing authoritarians advocate and exclude. Their advocacy for one is the exclusion of the other. And to demonstrate that, just look at
conservatives, right wingers, fascists, whatever. They've completely bought full, you know, hook, line, and sinker into the lie of scarcity, which you know, at one point scarcity was more of a thing, and then at one point, even whenever scarcity wasn't such a thing, you know, distribution was a big problem. I don't think either one of those are really a problem anymore. I mean, they are in the sense that, you know, capital is what governs them all. But like, theoretically, these things are to a point where everybody could be taken care of. They really could, you know?
Yeah. Let's connect some dots here, because I think I find this to be the most ironic thing about this whole heat map conversation is that conservatives, Dan McClellan is pointing out that conservatives, self-identified American conservatives, have a morality that is what we would expect from evolutionary theory. It's what evolutionary theory would predict. So they're being more like evolution than are the liberals, who transcend that moral concern and extend the moral concern outwards to everyone on earth. And that is what St. Augustine and St. Thomas Aquinas said we should be doing.
Right.
So the liberals in this case are being more Christian, and the conservatives are being more Darwinian.
Sure.
Yep.
As if we haven't gained the ability to you know, think outside of, you know, literally what we're born with. As if we haven't got the brains that are able to fucking absorb so much information and you know, formulate complex ideologies and solve problems and stuff to a degree that, like, you know,
conservatives are being governed by their monkey brain, basically.
Right.
It's funny, but because they are Darwinists and they also hate Darwin. So you know.
Well, it's that thing where, like, you think something is bad and you don't want to be called it because it reminds you of what you are.
Yeah.
It's the same level of projection they have with a lot of other things, you know. I mean, pedocon theory is a great example of, like, they call other people pedophiles because they don't want to be accused of pedophilia because they aid and abet. Yeah. Like, I don't, you know, I don't think the plurality of, like, even the plurality of American conservatives are pedophiles, but the plurality of them aid and abet pedophiles.
True. And like, they aid and abet a lot of the things that they claim to be against.
Right.
You know, but I mean, like, you know, to your point where you were saying about the hate being called what they know they are because they know it's a bad thing. It's it took me a couple of days to realize why that recent video I uploaded about Jeremy Griggs, you know, this literally just says, it's called "He Used to Be a Normal Guy."
And I'm like, man, why are they so fucking pissed about this? This is not really much of anything I haven't said before.
Right.
You know what I mean? But then I literally showed his in reverse his kind of how he on his Instagram used to just be a dude who loved his little cute puppies, and sure, he's probably conservative asshole or whatever, but he was like a human being that wasn't that it hadn't had his identity scooped out and replaced with fucking, you know, propaganda and bullshit yet. You know, and the fucking there's some chuds that are just they're really pissed off about the video, and I'm like, oh, it's because they don't like it being pointed out that they're not normal people anymore. They're not the same thing that they were. You know what I mean? And I do include, you know, your pre-MAGA conservatives to roughly be normal-ish human beings in most cases. You know what I mean? But like MAGA has come along and fucking implanted fascism into their brains, and now they're not even fucking remotely close to a reasonable, rational, coherent fucking human being anymore. Like they don't even operate on the same fucking playing field.
Well, and having how someone else pointing out that just you know, that a public figure, how he was radicalized, this sort of timeline change, puts a mirror up to those people. Like, this happened to you, right? They see their Instagram timeline or their Facebook feed and went, "Well, mine used to look a lot like that." And then, you know, hop through time, and it's like, oh, well, that can't be the case. Dane must be lying or manipulating things or what have you, because otherwise that means I was radicalized and I'm a completely rational person who couldn't be radicalized.
Right. And on the other hand, they call us the weird ones, with weird freaks, and the, you know, dehumanize anybody that's not on their fucking team because, you know, from their fucking funhouse mirror perspective, that's the truth. Right. But they are in fact the ones in the funhouse mirror. Yeah, exactly that. They fucking couldn't stand because they fascism. The only reason that they were able to make all of the fucking the headway that they have to where they're at now is by convincing enough people that, you know, actually being against these ideas that the liberals and the left have been feeding you. That's the normal thing. You know, being against wokeness is normal. That's what makes you a regular American or whatever. They're the ones that have gone crazy and shit. And it's like enough people believe that to where here we are. But then you call it, actually, man, you're the weird ones. No, what? No, don't say that. No.
Right. Anything but that. And even now, you just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, you just the question, like, walk me through it will set them off.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? Finish
off
this video.
Paul Hammond. The operative thing there is they want to be the cool ones. Right. That's what is motivating a lot of them, especially the tech bro oligarchs. They desperately want everyone to think they're cool as fuck. And we can all see that they're not.
That Zuckerberg segment's going to be going up this week, so that'll be a good example of exactly what we're talking about. It's just in the most extreme, you know, rich guy sense. Like he's able to literally just over time remake his image and convince, I guess, enough people that it's a legit thing. When meanwhile, other people that are not, you know, stuffed up in the fucking MAGA cult asshole can go, wow, man, you're really trying hard to appear different, even though you're clearly the same guy.
Well, and you know, this will tie into our potential final segment whenever we get there, if we get to it. But this need by these people who want to be smart to control information and control your access to information is such a huge insecurity thing. It comes from a place of insecurity, right? Elon Musk bought Twitter because he is an insecure man. Mm-hmm. And he censors Twitter because he is an insecure man. And he revels in his insecurity.
He was so insecure that he had to read what people were saying about him,
right?
Rather than realize I'm the richest guy in the world. I don't have to give a single fuck what anybody says about me. I'm logging off.
Mm-hmm. Right. He should have, like before. He should have followed the example of MySpace Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out.
Who, as we all know, is really fucking pulling the strings.
He's the puppet master. Yes.
The final boss.
He's not Jewish, is he? Because then I don't want to say that joke. I don't know, Tom.
Yeah. He's the wizard. He's the wizard behind the curtain, the man behind the curtain. That's who he is.
It's the Wizard of Oz.
let's finish this off real quick.
Vance's argument. He does not care about undocumented immigrants in his own community. He doesn't even care about his own community if they don't agree with him ideologically. He's just trying to structure power and boundaries and values in the interest of his own right-wing authoritarian identity politics, because he's a Christian nationalist, and Christian nationalism is about worshiping power and not about loving your neighbor. And that's the biggest problem with this idiotic and juvenile and ignorant argument that far too many people out there on the Christian right are making. And the fit for this video is Adonai and his Asherah.
All right.
So he does that he ends every video that way, and usually he's wearing like a comic book T-shirt of some kind.
Yeah.
So he shouts out like a particular artist or a particular writer or something like that. So that's one of the main reasons I like that guy. Like if you look at his behind him in his set, he has like comic book covers framed and stuff. He's obviously a nerd. He goes to Comic-Con.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his videos. He's pretty cool people.
Look, did Dead Domain just start streaming? Because 62 is not. They're definitely going to get up there in those numbers.
Yeah.
We ought to just, you know what? I really wish that Dead Domain would stream with me. But yeah. So anyway, it's let's look at a couple of things here. So the Christians, for anybody that's not aware, Trump has been bandying about some type of legislation or something. Is it legislation or just an executive order he's trying to do?
He's trying to create a executive task force on anti-Christian bias. I would not expect Trump to push for any legislation. He's going to try to do everything through executive action.
Yeah. Which in a way is a good thing. Because that shit can be swept away theoretically, if we theoretically ever get them out of power.
If there's another election that matters, then in theory.
Yeah. If there's another election that matters and we somehow manage to get the Democrats to offer something that fucking matters to people, because
bold,
they refuse to.
Bold of you to assume there will be elections.
Yeah, it's bold of us to assume there's going to be elections, and two, it's bold, perhaps even bolder of us to assume that there needs to be, because at this point, even like pretty centrist Democratic think tanks and organizing groups are like, literally do something. Do anything. Do a thing. One thing. Show us you can do a thing. And you're like, I don't know how.
Do a flip.
Get punched.
Yeah. There was a story. I know this is off track, so I'll be quick. But there was a story I saw in the Majority Report with Sam Cedar about like a closed door meeting of congressional Democrats where they were complaining that their centrist advocacy groups like Move On and so forth, that, I mean, most Americans would consider those left wing, but they're actually centrist. But even those people, the traditional constituency of the Democratic Party, were bombarding their offices with thousands of calls every day, demanding that they gum up the works the way Republicans did under Obama. And the Democrats were complaining not about Trump, but about the callers who were bombarding their office and saying they resented being told that they weren't doing anything. So Sam Cedar called up one of their offices and left a message saying, "I'm sorry we made you resent feeling that way. I'm sure it's very difficult pretending that you have no power, but we'll lay off now."
Yeah, I mean, Jon Stewart had that interview with Hakeem Jeffries last week or whatever, and it was pretty fucking pathetic, man. John's like, look, Jon Stewart had his dumb take about this, whether this is fascism or not. I kind of see where he was coming from with trying to be like, let's be a little bit more strategic about when we deploy that word, but I just don't think I think it's a battle that's not worth fighting at this point.
Yeah. I think now is the strategic time to deploy that word. Sorry.
I mean, I'm not going so far as some people that were saying, "Oh, he's just a fucking, just a centrist shill like he's always been." It's like, I don't really think that's the case. But like nonetheless, he had that interview and he was trying to ask him like, what are you going to do? And he's like, Hakeem Jeffries like, well, Maya Angelou said, and it's like, okay, you dumb bastard. We are no longer in Maya Angelou quote fucking territory, man. Like there was, Obama arguably should have been getting away from that, but
Yeah, Hakeem Jeffries actually said on live television in front of the entire press corps, like he asked, what are we supposed to do? We have no leverage. We have no power. It's their government.
There's a lot you can, you know what you can do as
Yeah.
the minority leader? Go say, I'm the minority leader of the House of Representatives. I want to go into this building and I want to talk to people. And you make them stop you. You make them put hands on you to stop you and make it a national issue.
But instead, we're getting this man-carrying thing so eloquently showed us recently.
Can you please lay out how your party plans to oppose the Trump presidency? I am working tirelessly to oppose this vile, undemocratic dictator named Donald Trump. Yes, I refuse to properly pronounce his name. As a 67-year-old corporate Democrat from a solidly blue state, I want to say this. I stand in solidarity with my comrades across America who demand Putin's communist fascist puppet to end his vile regime. Trump is proof of our failing corporate oligarchy. Also, I'm like 90% certain this guy likes to get peed on. Also, he's orange. In the words of Karl Marx. Aren't you gonna say something? My tummy hurts. Elon Musk is taking over the country.
No. I just need to regroup for a minute.
Do something.
Okay. Billionaires.
What are you doing?
He has all the bad billionaires, so we got to try to get the good billionaires.
Any other plans?
You know what? I'm gonna stop going to brunch.
Or like, heck, Gwen Moore has like busted into the Speaker of the House's office to like get in shouting matches with him. She's doing things to, you know, throw his day off, and she's just a regular member of Congress. Why isn't the leader of the Democratic Party doing that? Where the fuck is he on this?
Yeah.
Anyway,
they should be like not showing up to vote on anything.
Yeah,
Deny the Republicans a quorum.
Yeah.
Like and block, like filibuster every single legislative thing.
And give
like,
speaking filibusters. Don't do like if you want to not be like Republicans, instead of going, we're filibustering. Tough shit.
Yeah.
Go up there and give old-fashioned speaking filibusters 24 hours a day.
Yep. Bernie can't do it on his own, man.
Yeah. Get the fuck up
now we
there.
have Bucky in Congress. What are you talking about?
There's some
Bucky's
Republican
running in the MCU. Bucky is running for Congress in I think in the new Captain America movie.
Is that right? That can't be right.
Yeah.
Well,
he's not even in that movie. Is he?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet.
I have been told, I have it on good authority, there is a cameo with him and he's running for Congress.
Oh, well, thanks. I was hoping to avoid any spoilers.
I don't know if that's true. I've just been told that.
Yeah.
Thunderbolts. Okay. All right. Well, in the Thunderbolts trailer. Okay, fair enough. Well, I mean, that's kind of cool, actually. We'll see how that goes. Senators, you have to do better. That's what he's going to say.
No, he's going to take his cyborg arm and slap people around.
Hopefully.
All right.
I mean,
so
that's what
now Trump to go back to
some
Trump.
legislation. Some things that some folks are trying to do here.
So
let's see what we got.
Trump wants to do an anti-Christian bias task force.
Yeah.
Because the majority religion in America is somehow biased against.
Yeah, of course.
Somehow.
And you know, there is a sentiment behind that people seem to fucking agree with or something. Let me see. Damn, I thought I had it here. Maybe I don't. Oh wait, it's up on Twitter. That's right. So happened upon this Freedom Tunes was basically he's a Nazi. You know, this is the scene for anybody that can't see it, or if you haven't seen the movie Kingsman, the first one, where what's his name? Colin. Is that his name? Colin? Last name? Forget.
I don't remember
the character or the actor.
The actor.
The actor is Colin Firth.
Firth. That's it. He you know, he's like being controlled or whatever, you know, and he's in this church where they're like spouting vile shit.
Church, yeah.
Like N-words and just saying, you know, F slurs and all of that shit. And he, you know, nonetheless, he I don't think he was supposed to kill these people, but he's being controlled or whatever at the time. And he just starts blowing their fucking brains out. And it's actually a pretty cathartic scene, you know. This guy, people defend this scene because it's a bad racist bigot church. Well, brilliant. You see, it's actually okay that we had a scene that glamorizes slaughtering unarmed Christians. So the implication here is that we shouldn't have the freedom to make a scene like the Freedom Tunes is saying. This kind of freedom's not good, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Freedom for me, not for thee.
Right.
Because the Christian nationalist mindset is that they have the freedom to not be offended, and they have the freedom to violently remove anything that offends them.
Now, is he doing anything about the real life Christians, self-identifying Christians who go into, let's say, black churches? Like, what's those couple of pieces of shits, or into synagogues and fucking, you know, blow people away, or into mosques and blow people away? Real life situations where that happens, are they fucking coming out strongly against that? No, but this movie from 10 years ago, that's a real problem, guys.
And it's worse. Not only are they not coming out against that, they've also instituted a policy where sanctuary churches,
right,
Christian institutions with a long tradition of granting sanctuary to political prisoners and immigrants and so forth, are now going to start getting raided by ICE, which is a violation of literally centuries of common law tradition, of common law Christian tradition, going back hundreds of years. So they're doing anti-Christian totalitarianism while trying to pretend that they have like an anti-Christian bias they're fighting against.
Right.
I would not.
Well, I mean, and also at the same time, on the other hand, in a perfect example of fascism, you know, we're both victims and victor. Our enemy is uber powerful and yet weak. So this Trump official here, destroying the one just currently in the process of destroying, you said, secretly met with Christian nationalists abroad in defiance of U.S. policy.
Sounds about right.
One of the most powerful people in the U.S. government, Peter Morocco's turbulent tenure. Morocco sounds kind of sus. During his first Trump administration, sheds light on his current efforts to dismantle the American foreign aid system from the inside out. This is ProPublica, who, you know, once again, I cannot recommend following them enough because they're going to come out. I mean, it's not the sexiest news, but man, if you're somebody that's just into actually paying attention to the mechanics of how fascism is fucking working, this is a good place to start. So yeah, he was a senior political appointee tasked with promoting stability in areas with armed conflict. That summer, 2018, he made a 2-week trip to the Balkans, visiting several Eastern European countries in what was advertised as an effort to counter violent extremism and strengthen interreligious dialogue. At the time, the U.S. was trying to maintain a fragile peace agreement it had helped broker 2 decades earlier in the region. The Balkans are still living in the shadows of the Bosnian War, 1990s conflict between the region's disparate ethno-religious groups that led to the deaths of an estimated 100,000 people, including thousands of Muslim civilians who were massacred by Serb forces. To avoid compromising such delicate international relations, American diplomatic work is carefully prescribed, even down to the people U.S. officials meet, and those they should avoid, like politicians under Treasury Department sanctions for corruption or war crimes. On a 2018 visit to the Balkans, Morocco secretly met with officials whom the American government had determined were off limits without the highest levels of approval, ethno-nationalists, Bosnian Serb separatist leaders. Cool. So just white supremacists in another country.
And so for those who don't know, the conflict over there was between Orthodox Christians, Catholics, and I forget which sect of Muslims, what sect they belong to.
Sunni Muslims, I think.
Okay. So it was a 3-way war between them in Kosovo. Most famously.
So he was there to promote a Christian Bosnian Serb state. ProPublica pieced the episode together from interviews with 7 current and former U.S. officials. So let's see. Milorad Dodik was one of the people there, leader of a political region within the broader nation. He was at the time under U.S. sanctions by the Trump administration for actively obstructing American efforts to prevent more bloodshed. So there was the Trump administration back in 2018 actually doing a good thing, and yet at the same time, one of their own people was going against it at the same time.
Right, and like, yeah, we've done good. We've done enough good for now. Time to do more evil.
Right. that was like literally like the surface level. Like, we better look like we're doing something decent here, even though we know we're not underneath. Now they're not even doing the surface level shit. They don't even give a fuck.
They're just like, fuck it, more evil.
Yep. So he's called himself pro-Russian, anti-Western, anti-American. Cool. Well, I mean, you know, that's what our current government is. So
yeah, that's our American government today for you folks.
You know, so we're literally spreading fucking white nationalism around and strengthening the fucking ties between white nationalism in the world at the same time, being like, we're such victims.
Well, this is not the first time we have done that either, because like, if you look at a lot of our anti-communist activity in Italy after World War II, a lot of it was propping up right-wing nationalists in Italy, some of whom may or may not have been members of the fascist party, of Mussolini's fascist party.
Yeah, and let's not talk about Central America and South America.
So Morocco is now the director for foreign assistance at the State Department and has been delegated the power of deputy administrator of USAID, helping lead the two agencies that previously rejected him. And unlike last time, he's now without strictures and answers to few in the executive branch besides Trump himself. Immediately after the inauguration, Morocco drafted the order shutting down all of USAID's programs and freezing foreign aid. He's led the efforts to place nearly all of the agents. So they're literally just like, we're going to kill non-white people now. Because there's like they specifically have targeted, you know, regions in Africa that have, you know, we've been without much controversy, at least open controversy, you've been, you know, taken care of for quite some time now.
To varying degrees.
Yeah, well, right. I mean, you know, been sending them some stuff. How well that, you know, gets disseminated, I don't know. But
yeah, because you also get the thing where the form our support for Africa takes often depends on the administration, because things like birth control, condoms, and women's health care aid is often frozen immediately upon regime change in the United States.
Right. Yeah. They froze that. They were talking, Musk was talking about that whenever he had his little booger eating gremlin in there the other day. And like, you know, oh, we shouldn't be giving condoms to these people. It's like, as if it's some kind of like illicit thing. Like, oh, they're going to be having sex. Well, yeah, they're going to be having sex no matter what, buddy.
Also,
you know, medicine and condoms helps us, you fucking dipshit. Like,
it really gives away the ghost on his, like, we have to breed. Like, well, don't you want more people? You're like, we're going to run out of people, but not those people. So what that, to read between the lines, Elon Musk doesn't think people who are not white and live in Africa are people. Those in Elon Musk's minds are not human beings. They don't deserve.
Well, I mean, think about it. He was literally raised and was
in a
you know, in the wealth of people being, you know, treated as non-people in emerald mines and shit. And yeah, I saw that. I didn't know if that really, I didn't look into it, so I don't know if it related directly to this, but that's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Literally asking for 50% of Ukraine's rare earth materials. Like,
this is why all of these tech bros got in bed with Trump, was because they have gone all in on AI. They think, and what they call AI is just machine learning. They've rebranded machine learning from a few years ago to AI.
They just want to mass industrialize it. Yeah.
And the technology isn't there, so they have to overproduce these inefficient chipsets and inefficient graphics cards and inefficient energy systems and inefficient cooling systems for these data centers. And to do that, they need to get those minerals from somewhere that isn't China. Especially now that China's like, well, we can do it without you.
And they want to privatize all social services because it's the only way they can generate growth, economic.
Yeah.
Because capitalism requires eternal growth, which is an impossibility on a planet with limited resources. And tech bros don't actually produce anything.
Nope.
They don't make a product, a physical product that can be bought and sold on the market. And we're bumping up against the natural limits of our resources. So in order to satisfy their shareholders, they have to privatize social services and charge all of us more money for things like welfare or Medicare or whatever, so that they can drain the treasury and satisfy the line go up cult
for now, and not for long.
But they don't see it that way. They think they can do this forever.
Right.
I think they really believe, the true believers think that they can
do it forever,
produce eternal growth.
Right. I have some bad news for them about how entropy works.
Yeah.
Because entropy and them are not going to get along for long.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what they're scared of, I think. At the core is like they know that on some level that there is an end to this, to growth, and that they're just like, and it's like an addict going, I don't have much of the drugs left, so I better do the drugs. You know what I mean? Like, and fucking get it while I got it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you're going to be out in just a little while. The high's going to be over. But yeah, it's just I don't know if there is a bigger addiction than fucking billionaires and money.
I mean, it's the most dangerous addiction in the world.
One of the hosts of Chapo Trap House, I want to say it was Matt Christman, made the observation of almost 10 years ago now that we're coming up, the elite class knows, the techno bros know that we're coming up against an inherent contradiction in the capitalist system that's going to require us to choose either a global system of wealth redistribution that takes care of everyone, because we can do that, or genocide.
Socialism or barbarism.
Yeah. And they have chosen genocide.
They've chosen genocide.
Eco-socialism or barbarism, and they have chosen barbarism.
Yeah, I mean, and the reason why bigotry against like Muslims and you know, primarily Muslims outside of the U.S. but within the U.S. too, but like outside the U.S. it's that's where the white nationalism is focused, is on the Muslim, and the reason for that is because of climate refugees, and that's just going to continue to get worse. It's going to and worse in the sense that, you know, people that are in affected regions from climate change are going to need to go somewhere, and they're going to go, you know, where things aren't so bad. And so they're trying to, you know, establish don't even come to our country's laws now, you know, before the fucking refugee crisis I mean, it's already fucking unmanageable, but it's going to get unthinkable at a certain point.
Well, and it's part of it is that a lot of these people are already there, right? And they've been there for a long time, because what the European ethno-state people have convinced themselves of is that somehow, despite Eurasia being one continent that has had intercontinental trade for literally thousands of years, that there haven't been Muslims moving in and out of Europe since there's been Islam, and people of Orient descent, and people of Southeast Asian descent, and people of Chinese descent coming back and forth across Asia for millennia. They want it for them, even though that's a pretty recent historical idea.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's the same thing as you know, it's like in their minds, like, look, it was fine whenever there was like one Muslim family in my neighborhood, but now there's like 5. You know what I mean? Now we got to see them. Now they have signs in their language that we have to look at. Not that they were taking down the other signs, but there's new signs, you know, in the same way that Americans are like, oh no, I have to listen to the fucking operator say something in Spanish, you know, or it was one thing whenever, you know, the gays just wanted to get married, but now they want to be in movies and stuff too. And like, it's, you know, it's that's how they justify their bigotry, is like, well, I wasn't a bigot whenever there weren't that many of them to piss me off on a regular basis, but now that there's a bunch of them, I'm really pissed off a lot, and it's their fault. You know,
what's interesting is you read like newspapers and diaries and accounts of the time in the Renaissance period. Say, for instance, if you were French, your what we would recognize as racism today was going to be more directed at the English and the Spanish than it would be at Muslims. Greeks, I mean, depending on Greeks are a little interesting because that sort of divides up weirdly over time, especially when you're talking about the Ottoman Empire. Yeah. But racism looked different back then because it was more local. You were going your bigotry, unless it was anti-Semitism, which is a whole other can of religious worms in this case. But like a Muslim in your country was less disruptive than a Prussian in your country.
Yeah. And
there
have
was
been
probably racism in the sense of like with like Muslims or whatever, you know, back in, I don't know, you know, whenever I guess Middle Ages or something, you know, I mean, obviously there was some racism then, but like, yeah, anyway, what were you saying, Bob?
Oh, I was going to say there have been Muslim majority countries of Muslim European people in Europe for centuries.
It's called Turkey.
Not just Turkey,
Empire.
like part of the conflict in Bosnia, Serbia, Herzegovina that we were talking about earlier stems from the fact that there have been Muslim populations living there for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Who are there? They are the descendants of people who converted to Islam under the rule of the Ottoman Empire, but they are European. They're white Europeans. They have white European names. But there's huge populations of white European Muslims in Eastern Europe and also in Spain who've been there for hundreds of years. In Spain, almost 1,000 years. More than 1,000, honestly.
More than 1,000 years, yeah.
But they've always been framed as enemies of Christendom, as they are the rival civilization against Christendom.
Yeah, it's you know, I mean, like, so it becomes clear that apparently for a lot of this time that even though, you know, that basically certain people in Europe only saw certain countries as valid European countries.
Yeah.
The same way that, you know, it's like now you've got people that are like, well, Puerto Rico isn't really part of the U.S. And you know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's our own fault for not literally making them part of the U.S., but officially, but yeah.
Well, letting them decide on their own, if through a democratic process, whether they want to be under U.S. rule or not.
And
yeah, I mean, that's an unfortunate wrinkle too. That definitely doesn't make anything easier there. But like, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's not the, despite the fact that Muslims outnumber Christians in the world, we're not dealing with the fucking rising tide of Muslim fascism.
They don't yet. They will by 2050, but they don't outnumber Christians yet.
Okay.
We will not be able to deal with the as a American culture. If we are concerned about conservative Islam being an influence in the world, we are not going to be able to do that if we are controlled by our own religious extremists. Because religious extremists, conservative extremists have a way of getting along with each other.
You know what?
Especially when they're geographically divided like this.
I hate to say it, but there's only one person that can save us. You know, just sorry. You know, it's just
we look at Latveria, the trains run on time.
Everybody's got medicine. Everybody's taken care of. You know, there was one point I really wanted to do an essay on that and just like, what's, you know, and I ultimately just decided, well, the only reason that can exist is because it's fiction. Like, you know, but Doom legitimately does take great care of his people, you know. When the blood hunt happened and the, you know, the moon was out for weeks or whatever, and their vampires were running amok, they couldn't step foot in Latveria. You know, they would just burst into blood, you know. Anyway.
So yeah, it's one of those things where Christian nationalism is now the core of our problem. When we talk about American fascism, it is the rotten heart at the center of it.
But it's also the beating heart, because like without it, a lot of these people that are on board with what Musk is doing and stuff like that, I don't know that they would be.
No, I don't think so
either. They would
either.
recognize it as the fucking robbery that it is.
Right.
You know, but because they've got the religious, you know, fundamentalism tied up into it, they can see it that way. Right.
Right. They don't care about Musk as a means to the end, because when we're talking about, especially the American Christian nationalist movement, it has always been willing to make alliances that don't agree with it, that are beneficial to it. It's a parasite on the American people and on the American psyche.
This is well said.
Yeah.
Well said.
You look at, like, there's a great Behind the Bashes episode on it about how the wealth in America radicalized Christianity into this nationalist reactionary movement that is worth going back and checking out.
Yeah.
Well, there's also a comic
there's
book.
Several books on the subject too.
Yeah.
There's also a comic book called Secret Wars 2015 that objectively proves this false. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Doom, the best he could do was cobble together a few pieces of various, realities and make Battle World. When given the opportunity, Reed Richards recreated the entire fucking multiverse
from memory.
So, he had help with from his son, but still. That's why people love this channel, I hope. Because we can.
But I wanted to say on the point that extreme wealth was being used to was using extreme religion as a cudgel. That is a feedback loop. It also goes the other way. A lot of what's fueling the white right-wing Christian support for people like Elon Musk is the prosperity gospel.
Yeah.
And that is a product of capitalism. It's not they've spent like 40 or 50 years telling white kids in youth groups and Bible study groups that a distinctly American and distinctly capitalist interpretation of the gospel is just what the Bible plainly says. And so they've all, and those environments tend to be very authoritarian in their structure, where there's a single leader who has to be protected. And then so you start seeing like sex scandals and child abuse scandals where they all circle the wagons around the pastor. So people who've grown up in this environment are susceptible to being taken in by people like Trump and Elon Musk, who are rich, white, in Trump's case anyway, charismatic people who are catering to the belief system of millions of people who've been raised to believe that the white charismatic leader has a mandate from God. And if they follow him, they too will become billionaires.
Well, yeah. And I think this is also sort of to tie it into the tech bro side of things. I think this is why so many tech bros are suckered in by things like crypto and NFTs and AI worship. It is because these, on top of already having that sort of like Christian authoritarianism sort of baked into American culture that a lot of people come from, even if they're otherwise smart, rational people, we also have this media environment that over the last 40 years has presented these mostly white, mostly upper middle class to rich tech executives as the people who are going to guide us to the future. When those people tell you, yeah, the thing you should be doing is putting your money into crypto, or AI is going to revolutionize things, people are pre-programmed to accept that with a lot of critical feedback.
Yeah. It's magical thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Really, crypto and AI is prosperity gospel for tech bros.
Yeah.
It's the same psychological tricks. It's the same system.
Yeah, because tech companies and almost all corporations in America are also dictatorships.
Yeah. All corporations are dictatorships.
Yeah. I'm sure, well, depends on their structure. If they're a co-op, then
not
necessarily. But most companies that most people in America work for are dictatorships. They function like authoritarian, totalitarian governments.
Yep.
So we are used to being told what to do by the boss and not having a say in what the company does. So we've all been groomed into being, cogs in the machine.
I just want to say that, like, because I am going to have to get off of here in just a minute, by the way.
Okay.
But we watched that little bit of that video about Zuckerberg the other night, and I think that, he's got the right idea. Like, he, as far as like he recognizes what's coming, even though he's also helped us get there in no small part. But so when it comes to like the billionaires, like, oh, this is unsustainable, entropy and all that, it's like he knows that, and I think that he's,
that's why they're all building bunkers.
Yeah, he's building a bunker and he's hedging his bets on turning things into the metaverse or whatever, so that he can still have some source of income from the fucking plebs. I mean, even if that doesn't work, he's still got enough money that he's never going to have to worry about anything the rest of his great grandchildren's lives. Resources and money, and
go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, and then Musk, I think, is more insane, in that he's like legit thinking of Mars. You know what I mean? Which maybe is like ultimately would be something that we'd have to do if we just continue on this path that we're on. But I don't think that he's going to be able to get us there.
Scientifically, it would be easier to terraform Earth back to a sustainable state than it would be to terraform Mars to a even habitable one, and it's impossible for us to fix Earth, or almost impossible.
It's not impossible. We know what we have to do. We just don't have the political will to do it, because it would require, for starters, billionaires not being allowed to exist.
Right.
So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that Musk actually thinks that if he gets to Mars and he finds the alien temples, that he just has to put his hand on the thing and then the oxygen will go into the atmosphere?
I don't know, man.
Go Hagen style.
It depends on how much ketamine he's taken that day.
I think his goal is just to become the world's first trillionaire.
Yeah, that's really it.
That's his goal for now. Because he's chasing a high. He's a junkie. He's chasing a high.
Yeah.
True.
And I was going to add that the reason they're all trying to push crypto and destabilize the American dollar to replace the American dollar anyway, which is the basis of the global economy, is so that they can control everyone else's money.
Yeah.
And create little techno fiefdoms where they are the overlords.
Yeah.
Musk is the little Quado guy on the abdomen of Trump, who's whatever the other guy's name was. That's the relationship there.
Open your mind to me.
Also, I think from the tech bro standpoint, there's this sort of nouveau riche desire to not be answerable to old money. Which, I mean, to be fair, is perfectly understandable. I don't want to be answerable to old money, but instead of maybe having this omni-rich generational wealth thing is bullshit, we should get rid of it. They're like, no, I want to wipe them out and be the new king.
Yeah.
Because old money is wrapped up in the fact that the American dollar is the thing that drives the global economy. So they would rather you not do that. Tech pros.
It's a lot like Daenerys Targaryen. I hate to bring up the much maligned final season of Game of Thrones, but at one point she really legitimately wanted to break the wheel. She legitimately, wanted to change things because of all the people that had been oppressed and hurt and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, that's the system that got her where she's at. She doesn't want to she's not going to actually tear it down. Same as Musk. Even if they think that they want to, change the system or whatever justifications they give themselves, we're going to make everything better for whatever the fuck. I don't know, whether or not he's honest with himself, who knows? But, there's no way they're going to actually change the system in any fundamental way that would benefit anybody but themselves.
Right.
Because the system put them where they are. It's only failing in their eyes is that it hasn't done more for them already.
That's their, that they believe that it's why it's failing, is that it hasn't done more for them.
On that note, I don't think we're going to get to the Zizians this week. I got to get going and get kids ready for
school
week and stuff.
Yep.
We had one kid out for sick all week, and then snow happened for a couple of days, and so we're behind.
All right. Well, you get your family together. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah. Once again, congratulations on your engagement.
Thanks. No telling when there's actually going to be a marriage that happens. I don't even know if it's economically wise for us to do so. So we'll see. Yeah, you guys are great, all of you. Love you, even you, Tony Frog Tony. You goddamn fucking scummy little piece of shit. Love you, buddy. Thank you. And also on that note, I don't know, here's this again.
You will receive the truth about comic books. No censored, lying bullshit. And no going with what every other shill is saying about comics. This ain't satire or a joke. I don't know why people keep saying that. Why do people keep saying that about me? I don't get it. You will also receive real metal of the highest caliber. No posers, no glorifying genres that suck. Death, thrash, new metal. No BS. Just pure heavy metal with no regard for what posers think. If you agree with any of the stuff I say, please subscribe to help the metal fight. If you disagree, go complain to your boyfriend. Rock hard, ride free.
I'm gonna rise up, gonna kick a little ass, gonna kick some ass in the USA. Gonna climb a mountain, gonna soar a flag, gonna fly on an eagle. I'm gonna kick some butt, I'm gonna drive a big truck, I'm gonna rule this world. I'm gonna kick some ass, I'm gonna rise up, I'm gonna kick a little ass. Okay, I'm gonna rise up, gonna kick a little ass, gonna kick some ass in the USA. Gonna climb a mountain, gonna soar a flag, gonna fly